10 hours of my day, I didn't feel guilty about it. And that just made me realize how messed up our brains are right now. And so recently, I was reading this book, The Psychology of Money, where the writer, to explain the concept of compounding, talks about the Ice Age, right? When the earth was completely covered in snow and for a long period of time, and cycle repeated for like 4 times. And I found it so fascinating, which made me realize that if I didn't read this book, I might not understand the psychology of money right now, because I find this book a little difficult because I don't understand the vocabulary used here, like the finances and investment terms that I used. I don't really understand this, but if I didn't read this book, I would have not got to know that I am interested in like the Ice Age part or like history of Earth in general. So I just feel that if I didn't read this, or if I didn't read anything in general, there are so many things that I might be missing out on. There are so many things that I wouldn't know, that I wouldn't even care to know. Because I read it, I got to know that I am interested in something. This Ice Age thing, or the self-help books or anything around that, might be fascinating or interesting to me, but it might not be for you. So it works like that. Whatever you're interested in, you can read that. Okay, so before reading anything at all, if we need to start something, we need to find an answer to why, right? So why I started reading was, so I started reading in school, where we had library periods, and I used to just read these short stories which converted into novels, and then I just read from then on. But last year, when I really started reading, like everyday wala reading, was when I was so damn addicted to my phone, where I just wanted to scroll, and all the time I had my phone in my hand. I was just so done with it that I just needed to find something else, which was reading. So that was my why. Some why can be yours. You can have your own why. Okay, so I'm not much into giving you suggestions right like over here, but if you don't have a why, I can give you one that me and my friend were once talking about, that reading opens up our mind in ways that we can't imagine. Like, there are so many things that we have no idea about, which we will have no idea about if we don't read about it, because obviously scrolling is doing no good for us. Yeah, your why can be that it will open up my minds in ways that I can't imagine. Like, there are so many things, all out of all these books, there are so many things that I had no idea about, and I would have never known if I wouldn't have read them. So yeah, try it. It will help. But there's just one thing that I don't like about reading, and particularly fiction books, is that I just can't stop reading them. Like, I just need to get to their end, because some books are so gripping and it is like mad. Okay, if you read some of these books, only then you will understand that how mad you get after them. But so when I read The Silent Patient, I completed that book in 2 days and read for like 4 hours straight in one sitting. And you reach a point where you're not reading anymore. You are just breathing in the words, and you're like, duh, 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 duh. You're gulping in the words. Like, if you know, like, thus ke khana, you are literally thusing. You're literally thusing those words, and you're breathing those words in and out. And which I don't think is healthy for me, because then I need to do other work as well, right? I need to start reading thrillers on your own risk. Because self-help books, these books are so heavy to digest and to understand, that 2 or 3 chapters you read and you're like, okay, that's it. Like, you need to process the information. The Sapiens that I read, this book is like, after every 2 pages I was like, okay, I need to close it and I need to process what just happened. I need to process it, because it is again like one of the most wow book. Like, after reading 2 pages I was like, wow, hold on. But fiction, thrillers especially, I've just read one and I haven't dared to buy another, because I feel like I'll be just reading those. So I've taken a break from that. But yeah, and also one more thing that I realized from reading it was, I read for 4 hours straight. Okay, fine. But I was so guilty that, I read for 4 hours, and I realized that I've got my brain so messed up that I didn't feel guilty when I used to scroll for 8 hours and then not do my work. But because I read for 4 hours, like, reading is being such a good habit, I felt guilty about reading, and I thought that, I wasted time. But the same thing when I used my phone and wasted like 10 hours of my day, I didn't feel guilty about it. And that just made me realize how messed up our brains are right now. And it's like scary shit. But if you want to start, or if you want to get into self-help books, the one book that I really like, the one book that I still keep reading is this. This book is something my mother read, and she's like, you know, I've read your other books, but I didn't understand a word. But this has like the simplest vocabulary, and it's like so easy to understand. And yeah, you can start with this book if you want. But again, I'm not giving any advice, like serious advice. This is just my suggestion. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Okay, bye.
एंड हे वेलकम टू मीफाइड। अब अगर वेलकम हो गया तो जल्दी से सब्सक्राइब कर लो ताकि अगली बार वेलकम बैक हो जाए। ओके बाय।